further ado, Dr. Rob Bell.
In 1966 season, the Green Bay Packers won the first ever Super Bowl. In the 67 season, the Green Bay Packers won the second Super Bowl. 68, it was the Jets. 69, it was the Chiefs. 70, it was the Colts. 71, it was the Cowboys. 72 was the Dolphins. 73 was the Dolphins. 74 was the Steelers. 75 was the Steelers. 76, it was the Raiders. 77 was the Cowboys. 78 was the Steelers. 79 was the Steelers. 1980, it was the Raiders. 1981, 49ers. 82 was the Redskins. 83 was the Raiders. 84 was the 49ers. 1985, Chicago Bears. 86 was the Giants. 87 was the Redskins. 88 was the 49ers. 89 was the 49ers. 1990 was the Giants. 91 was the Redskins. 92 was the Cowboys. 93 was the Cowboys. 1994 was the 49ers. 95 was the Cowboys. 1996 it was the Packers. 97 was the Broncos. 98 was the Broncos. 99 it was the Rams. 2000 was the Ravens. 2001 was the Patriots. 2002 the Buccaneers. 2003 the Patriots. 2004 the Patriots. 2005 the Steelers. 2006 Indianapolis Colts. 2007 it was the Giants. 2008 was the Steelers. 2009 was the Saints. 2010 was the Packers. 2011 was the Giants. 2012 was the Ravens. 2013 the Seahawks. 2014 the Patriots. 2015 the Broncos. 2016 the Patriots. And 2017 the Eagles. Thank you guys for having me. Have a great dinner. I appreciate that.
I'm here at the NFL Combine and just listened to a talk given by Dr. Rob on hinge moments in life. Fantastic talk, really got you to think back retrospectively into your own life and think about those hinge moments, those pivotal moments in your life that really made a difference and made an impact, and to look back and say, wow, if that didn't happen, how much different would my life be now? And to be able to think about how you might have that same effect on other people is just tremendous. That's really the work, the true reward for hard work. And if you really work on making an impact in other people's lives, everything else sort of falls into place.
Guys, I do that certainly not to impress you, but to impress upon you that I went through every Super Bowl champion. And what I was interested in what were these hinge moments between every single Super Bowl winner. And from that, what was a common theme amongst every winner? What's the hinge? Guys, 10 seconds for undivided attention. Okay, ready? Go. Every door has a hinge. A door without a hinge is a wall. It just doesn't work. So what the hinge is in our lives, it's going to be that one moment. It's going to be that one person or even that one decision that makes all the difference in our lives. What it does is connects who we are with who we become. Whenever you hear about a door opening or closing, that's due to the hinge. If you hear about a rusty door, it's not the door at all, it's the hinge that gets rusty. All right, go ahead, space back out. Think about the hinges that happen in the decisions. In 1987, Joe Gibbs calls Doug Williams into his office and says, "We're trading you to the Raiders." And Doug Williams was excited. He was like, "Thank you." He says, "Come back at noon, I'll have all the details for you." He comes back at noon and Joe Gibbs tells him, "Something tells me you're going to help us win this thing. I've changed my mind." Or maybe the decision in the 70s for Coach Tom Landry to stop switching quarterbacks every series and then from every play and to stay with one quarterback, Roger Staubach, and to not go with Craig Morton. Think about the Super Bowl decisions that have made in the Super Bowl an onside kick like ambush or the Philly special.
One of my favorite parts about it was when he discussed or he kind of looked back at all the Super Bowl moments and how each team faces some type of adversity or some type of, as he said, a hinge moment during that season. And I like the fact that he addressed each one and how, each team has to overcome something in order to be able to make it that far and to reach that moment that every NFL team wants to win that Super Bowl.
Think about your hinge moments that have happened in your life. You know, the thing about hinge moments is this, is we cannot connect the dots in our life looking forward. We can only connect the dots looking backwards and seeing what impact one moment, one person, or one decision made in our lives. Think about your hinge moments for a second. How did you meet your spouse? How did you end up at the career and the field that you're in now? You know, I heard Ron McCaffrey. Ron, where you at? Heard Ron McCaffrey talk, and he shared how he got into the sport of football just the other day. He was walking home and he decided to go a different direction because there was a drug deal that was happening down on the side of the street. And so as he goes straight ahead, instead of taking a left, he walks right onto a football field, walks right into the middle of the field. Coach, instead of saying, "Get out of here, kid," says, "Come on over here and watch it from here." And then that was cemented in his life, the passion about football. From walking a different path home to then a coach saying, "Come over here." You know, the hinges that happen in our lives, tragedies that happen, are immediate hinges, because from that moment on, everything has changed. You know, I went to a Division II school in West Virginia to play baseball. It's called Shepherd University. And something happened on my way to college, probably my senior year, as I discovered this thing called partying. I thought you could have partying and baseball at the same time, and as I go off to college, I was really off on the wrong path. And in West Virginia, there's a lot of hills. A lot of these hills, you know, we have bridges. And all I tell my athletes is, like, nothing good happens after midnight. Nothing good happens after midnight. So this was after midnight. For some reason, we're partying near this bridge, and near this bridge was this cliff. And I end up walking off an 80-foot cliff. I didn't jump, I wasn't pushed, but I fell completely down there, conscious during the whole time, and I'm laying in this crevasse. Broke my arm, fractured my back, had a gaping head wound. They have to crane me up out of it and take me back to the hospital where my mom is a nurse who has no sympathy on me. She knows where my path was headed. She's the oldest of 9, Catholic family, no sympathy on me, sends me right back to school. This happened on a Friday, I'm right back to school on Monday in a lot of pain, and I go into Coach's office and say, "Coach, I'm so sorry." He says, "Rob, somebody was looking out for you," which I didn't get at the time. He said, "Somebody was looking out for you, but you're not gonna be playing baseball." Boom, hinge moment. And I think we all have those cliff moments that happen in all our lives. We all have those cliff moments. And the athletes that we work with always have these cliff moments. Now, I'm never going to say a loss is a tragedy, because tragedies are real. A loss, the last time I checked, although it's painful, is never fatal. But I discovered one thing looking at all these hinge moments, that one common theme that combined every Super Bowl champion was simply this. Every single one of them had that cliff moment. Every team had that one loss that was so painful that it galvanized and cemented the team to come together, where they basically said no more. The 72 Dolphins, as we know, was the only team to go undefeated. Well, their loss came in the Super Bowl the year before, when they got embarrassed by the Cowboys 21-3, didn't even score a touchdown. What happened? They showed up the next training camp with a renewed vigor and enthusiasm unknown to mankind. It wasn't talent, because if it was talent, then the best team would always win. And it's just the team that plays the best. Every single team had that loss.
Thoroughly enjoyed Dr. Bell's message. When you think about some of the things that we incorporate in an athletic realm and elite level athletes, what we start to think about is things like he termed the hinge. So when we look at just what's brought everyone into the current situation where they're at, including us as coaches, I think you look and you reflect back on certain aspects of life, and he really brought that message home to where it kind of gives you to self-absorb and reflect upon yourself and some of the experiences that you've went through and some of the things that have led you to where you are. I think that's the message that we can take and drive home into our athletes, but as well taking it as a personal message within ourselves.
The other thing that I discovered simply was this. Going through this, I found out something that I found to be pretty fascinating. And it's that the process is more important than the product. I'm going to say it again. The process is more important than the product. Now, when I say that, I'm not diminishing the product at all. I'm not saying the product's not important. Like, we play to win the game, right? Hello? I love that one. We play to win the game. Like, winning, it beats losing. No one's ever going to say that, not winning the lottery is better than winning the lottery. I'm not saying that. So when I say the process is more important than the product, I'm not diminishing the product at all, because you all have experienced that moment. But in 1996, when Brett Favre holds up the Lombardi Trophy, I'll never forget this. He said, and this is a very, very emotional player. He said, I have cried after losses. I have cried after wins. And when I held that up, I thought in my head, is that it? Is that it? What do you mean? When I go back and I look, Chuck Noll, when he would win a Super Bowl, would go through bouts of depression. Bill Walsh, when he won his third Super Bowl, is in the locker room celebrating all around him, and he said, I felt like an outsider because I knew I was done coaching. I didn't even feel like part of the team. LT said, you build it up so much that when it happens, nothing. And I can't tell you the amount of guys that I saw that actually said winning was a relief. Now, I'm not going to diminish that, but I want you to think about those that have had that championship. Why would they say that? You see, what Brett Favre meant at that time was that in that moment, it was over. What he really missed was that week 11 comeback when they were down 21-10. They overcame that adversity and that obstacle. That's what they missed. And he knew at that point it was over. He talked about, man, what was really fun was spending time in the weight room, spending time on the bus rides, being in that locker room. What we missed was playing that practical joke during Halloween on Coach. And at that moment, it was over. Process is more important than the product. If I was to ask you, what's the image you think about when you think about the championships that you have had? What's the image in your head? Is it you just by yourself? Or do you think about the obstacles and the adversity that you overcame, and you think about the relationships that you built along the way when you think about that moment? Process is more important than the product. Look, fellas, what I really believe is that we are in the process business. We are not in the results business. So when Joe Gibbs says that, look, it's not as much about having got it as it's about the struggle and overcoming the obstacles that you have to go through. When Bill Cowher says the chase becomes part of you, I didn't know how to act. Process over product. When we think about it, the weight room is the perfect process business that we're in. And we're either transformational coaches or we're transactional coaches. This either happens by design or it happens by default. The one thing I cannot stand about the media and why I hate the media is they finish every single championship exactly the same way. Before they sign off, and it doesn't matter what the championship is, they do something really disgusting. They say this, they'll say, man, do you think they can repeat? Do you think they can do it again? Just like that. Media always wants us thinking ahead. And the guys aren't even probably out of the locker room. They say that at the Olympics. Hey, do you think they're going to be back in 4 years? Excuse me? Even when we do have that, how long does that feeling last? And I'm not diminishing the product at all. I'm just saying the process that we go through is more important than that product. Check this. Process. We're going to play and practice and train way more than we're ever going to play. In our lives, we're going to have more losses, more setbacks than we're ever going to have wins. I believe that it's not about the setback, that it's always about the comeback. I'm going to say that again. I don't believe it's about the setback, it's always about the comeback. And it's not about what we get. It's about who we become and the lives that we impact along the way. I didn't know if you caught this because I kind of threw a little head fake at you. I asked you, I said, think about the hinge moments that have happened in your life. Some of you all was pretty evident. You might even thought about a coach. If I ask you your favorite coach, everybody in here would be able to raise their hand. Guys, here was the head fake. You are the most important person in somebody's life. You are the hinge in your players' lives. You make such an impact in their lives that we don't even know the impact. We can't know the impact of it. How do we know the impact of you sending a text to somebody just saying, wow, I'm really proud of what you did today? Process. How do we know the impact of when we put our hand on one of our athletes' shoulders and just saying, you belong here, play with confidence? How do we know the impact of that when they go home, and then how do they treat their spouse, and then how do they treat their kids? Well, it's a whole lot easier to coach after wins, but we're more meaningful coaches after losses. Look, we can't know the impact of our actions, but if we take no actions, there will be no impact. So then what we do as coaches is we simply do this. We plant trees that we're never gonna see. As coaches, as the most important people in somebody's life, the most important people in society today are the coaches. You're planting trees you're never gonna see. You're planting trees whose shade that other people get to enjoy. Never forget that you're the most important person in their life. And do you focus on the process? Do you focus on building that relationship? Because if you do, then I think when you hold that up, when you hold that trophy up, that trophy is going to look like that athlete that called you up saying, Coach, I want you to be part of my wedding, or I want you to be at my wedding. Or that player is going to say, Coach, please be at my kid's birthday party. Then we know the impact that we've made in people's lives through that relation. And tell me holding up that trophy doesn't feel great. Guys, those that win those awards, I'm really thankful for being here. I thank you that you gave me 15 minutes just to kind of plant that seed. And this is by design or this is by default. This happens if we're intentional in our behaviors, because we're either transformational coaches or we're transactional coaches. Guys, if anybody's interested in the book, like Bill said, I will email you a copy of the book. Make sure I get your email. If anybody's interested in any other books, please come see me. God bless to you and your families, and I hope this combine and this night goes excellent for you. Thank you all so much.